Coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3. Here are the top stories. The first batch of SA troops from the DRC have landed at the Air Force Base Waterkloof moments ago. Their return was marred by logistical delays earlier today.
During winter, we expect the cold as well as snow here in the Eastern Cape.
President Cyril Ramaphosa visited Mthatha today in the Eastern Cape, where devastating floods left 79 people dead and counting. Global oil prices have jumped following Israel's military attack on Iran overnight. Good evening and welcome to Prime News on 3 on a month that celebrates the energy and potential of South Africa's youth. I am Becky Mutumomolete and I'll be guiding you through this evening's top stories. Let's take a closer look. The first flight carrying 249 SNDF troops from the Southern African Development Community Mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has arrived at Waterkloof Air Base in Pretoria. This comes just hours after Defence Minister Angie Motshekga briefed the media in Bloemfontein, where the troops were meant to land at the Bloemspruit Air Force Base at midday. Last month, SA withdrew its troops from the DRC, having lost 14 soldiers in a battle with M23 rebels in January near Goma in the eastern DRC. They have been fighting alongside a delegation of soldiers from Tanzania and Malawi in the country since December 2023. The soldiers were part of a SADC mission to help bring peace and stability. President Cyril Ramaphosa visited Mthatha today in the Eastern Cape, where devastating floods left 79 people dead and counting. Ramaphosa visited the affected areas accompanied by Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa alongside Premier Oscar Mabuyane.
The floods in the pre-dawn hours caught many unaware despite weather warnings. Torrential rains ravished through various districts of Mthatha in the Eastern Cape, washing away homes, schools and roads, leaving hundreds displaced and 79 dead and counting.
This is a catastrophic disaster for us, which is caused by climate change. Ngoba siqhelanga lento ukuthi there must be floods during winter. During winter, we expect the cold as well as snow here in the Eastern Cape.
Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, says all efforts are being made to support victims.
We're doing everything in our power. We've got to record these people. We're bringing in all government services on the wheels, or Home Affairs, so that those who have lost their IDs can get their IDs back. Birth certificate, you can see also kids here. Some kids, young people might have lost their certificates. So all those issues must actually be restored.
Mop-up operations continue throughout the affected areas. Genevieve Cafe, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The president has also dismissed claims that the floods in Mthatha might have been caused by the opening of sluice gates at the Mthatha Dam.
So this is a catastrophe that I do believe could never have been foreseen, because as I see it, much as the people are slightly closer to the river, but they are quite a distance from the river. Where we are standing now is almost like 500 to 600 meters from the actual river. So for the river to have burst its banks in the way that it did, and as we now head to the G7 in Canada, it is one of the issues that we are going to be putting forward on the global agenda, that areas of the world where there are repeated disasters, like we have in our own country, KZN and the Eastern Cape are always affected by various types of disasters.
Global oil prices have jumped following Israel's military attack on Iran overnight. The price of Brent crude oil rose by more than 10% shortly after the strike began. Traders are worried that an Israel-Iran conflict could tighten oil supplies coming from the oil-rich region. The Brent crude oil price is currently hovering above $73 a barrel. If higher oil prices are sustained, this will result in high-priced fuel, which will pervade all economies dependent on energy, raising the prospect of higher inflation. There are growing calls for de-escalation in the Middle East. This after Israel launched a precise military operation hitting Iranian nuclear targets to block Tehran from developing atomic weapons. The developments have put the region on edge, where tensions have already been high since the start of Israel's war on Gaza in October 2023. Israel has declared a state of emergency in anticipation of retaliatory missile and drone strikes by Tehran.
Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
The battle lines have been drawn between Israel and Iran. Israel attacked Iranian nuclear facilities, ballistic missile factories, and military commanders in the operation. It says it wants to prevent Tehran from building an atomic bomb. Iran says its nuclear program is only for peaceful purposes. The UN nuclear watchdog has weighed in on the matter as well.
At present, the competent Iranian authorities have confirmed that the Natanz enrichment site has been impacted and that there are no elevated radiation levels. They have also reported that at present the Esfahan and Fordow sites have not been impacted.
The United Nations has called on Iran and Israel to de-escalate the situation.
The Secretary General condemns any military escalation in the Middle East. He is particularly concerned by Israeli attacks on nuclear installations in Iran, while talks between Iran and the United States on the status of Iran's nuclear program are underway.
Israel has shut global embassies after the attack. Demonstrators have rallied in Tehran, calling for retaliation against Israeli strikes on Iran. Kylie Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Welcome back. Free State High Court Judge Philip Lobsha has dismissed the NPA's application for leave to appeal his decision to free Murwadi Cholota from standing trial in the 255 million rand asbestos roof removal scandal. Cholota was the personal assistant of the then Free State Premier, Ace Magashule, when the asbestos tender was allegedly illegally awarded back in 2014. She was extradited from the U.S., where she had been studying in August last year, to stand trial alongside Magashule and 16 others. However, last week, Tuesday, the High Court found that her extradition was unlawful. The main trial, involving now 17 accused, is set to resume in January 2026. The principal of Bergview College in Matatiele, Eastern Cape, who was accused of the rape of a 7-year-old school learner, has begun the process of laying charges against politicians who falsely accused him of child rape. Jaco Pieterse, supported by lobby group AfriForum's private prosecution unit, is seeking to hold EFF leader Julius Malema, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, and Eastern Cape MEC for Education Fundile Gade accountable for their remarks on the matter in the public domain.
In one of the first appearances before the media following the highly publicized alleged sexual assault of a 7-year-old girl child in the Eastern Cape, the school principal, who was falsely implicated as one of the suspects in the alleged crime, has begun to take steps to restore the reputational harm suffered in the ordeal.
Well, the reason he's filing the charges is because his dignity has been impaired. We've had these individuals refer to Mr. Peterson directly as a rapist. We're not even going as far as allege this or allege that. He was referred to as a child raper. He was labelled as a pedophile. This is a teacher his career is in the care of children, and he's being accused of one of the most heinous crimes. And understandably, South Africa has got a rape crisis. We've got a child abuse crisis, and falsely being accused of having committed this crime against a child is devastating.
Pieterse has since been cleared as an alleged suspect, and the Minister of Police has apologized to him. But the harm still remains with the school principal, who says that the effect on him and his family has been significant.
Just want to say I'm very relieved that the truth did come out, and but I'm also determined to ensure that people know that they can't make any false and reckless statements on social media or the media.
The ANC has declined to comment on the matter. The Office of the Eastern Cape MEC of Education, Fundile Gati, says it is yet to be notified of the matter and will only offer comment then. Meanwhile, the EFF was not immediately available for comment. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
The cost of the national dialogue, which was announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa earlier this week, has been estimated at around 700 million rands. This has been confirmed earlier by the National Dialogue's Preparatory Task Team, which comprises of national foundations and presidential representatives together with NEDLAC.
That budget, and just to give you a sense, I mean, just to pull the provinces, the municipalities, you're looking probably estimation of more than 700 million. So that's quite a lot of money. So we just need to make sure that we deal with all those issues. But this includes the following. If you take the states SA in terms of reaching out to people through their processes of numeracy and doing counting in the country, those are some of the existing resources that the state has. So you might be tapping into those existing resources so that what you then call operational costs might be then taken into other existing programs of the state so that indeed no one is left behind.
Thank you for staying with us. With crime threatening lives and economic stability in the country, the South African Police Service leadership has announced bold measures to strengthen their ranks and boost officers' confidence in the fight against crime. Speaking at the NatWen's offices in Pretoria West, the SAPS outlined key priorities to enhance manpower, improve incentives and promotions, all within the existing budget.
First year in office, the police minister was joined by the top brass within SAPS to outline significant changes within the ranks of the police in a bid to intensify the fight against crime.
In the next couple of months or so, is to develop a new system of promotion within police, vertically and horizontally, so that that system becomes a kind of an incentive to recognize dedication and service on the side of police officers, just to motivate them and so on, and not depend on vertical promotion only, but sideways as well.
For us to sustain the downward trajectory on the decrease of reported crimes, management must also do its part in order to improve the lives of our members by ensuring that they have the right tools equipped to do the job.
The police minister also says beefing up crime intelligence and forensic services to deal with the DNA backlogs is also being prioritized.
We are confirming that the work has been done. It's not a talk show. Agreement are ready.
The SAPS top brass also reminded police officers who break the law that no mercy will be shown if they are caught. Meanwhile, SAPS also promised to take stronger measures to ensure a culture of zero tolerance against corruption in the police service. Patricia Fasahi, SABC News in Pretoria.
The United National Transport Union has welcomed the signing of a 3-year wage agreement with freight and rail group Transnet. The salary deal signed yesterday followed protracted wage talks that included the South African Transport Allied Workers Union and ultimately landed up at the CCMA.
According to UNTU, the majority union at Transnet, there's been a back and forth process with Transnet since Monday to finalize the draft agreement. Spokesperson Atenkosi Blaki says the union had previously rejected an agreement signed by Satau, leading to a deadlock where the CCMA intervened.
That was also a lengthy process because we reached a deadlock and then we went through a conciliation period, and that was also facilitated by the CCMA, and those talks collapsed. So following the collapse of those talks during that conciliation period, UNTU then did embark on a balloting process where we had to determine with our members whether they want us to embark on industrial action. And we did get an overwhelmingly yes, and our members were ready to down the tools.
Now that a strike has been averted, UNTU says the agreement also ensures job security with no mandatory retrenchments for the duration of the agreement. The wage agreement comes as government has agreed to provide Transnet a 51 billion rand additional guarantee to settle debt and execute its capital investment program. Nosipho Khatebe, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Earlier this evening, South Africa took center stage in brand excellence as Johannesburg hosted a landmark event celebrating the continent's most admired names in business. Brand Africa, in collaboration with Brand South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and Business Day, unveiled the 2025 Brand Africa 100, South Africa's best brands rankings. It is now time for us to chart the climate, and our weather team has the details. Up next is your forecast.
Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at what to expect weather-wise for tonight as well as tomorrow. Mostly clear skies across most parts of the country. Partly cloudy, however, through the central regions of the Western Cape, in places over the northwest, Gauteng, and the northern parts of Limpopo. Now, tomorrow, starting off with early morning fog patches in places over Limpopo with some drizzle along the escarpment, where it will be partly cloudy over Limpopo and the extreme northeastern parts of Mpumalanga. Otherwise, a fine day with light to moderate winds over the interior. Now, the South African Weather Service is warning of high fire danger conditions. That's over the extreme western parts of the Northern Cape, where runaway veld fires are possible. So please do take caution in those regions and do not cause any unnecessary fires. Overnight temperatures seeing Bloemfontein down to 0 degrees and -3 in Bethlehem, 7 in Cape Town, 10 is your overnight low in George. Ermelo expecting to drop down to 2 degrees. Tomorrow peaking at 18 in Bombela, at 19, 17 is your maximum in Dar, Appington, and Lephalale, a maximum of 22. Pretoria and Mahikeng both expecting to peak at 19. Now on to Sunday, where we're expecting fairly cold to cool conditions, but warm in places over the northern parts of the Western Cape, as well as the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. It will be a fine day, partly cloudy skies, however, over the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal into Mpumalanga, Limpopo, as well as the northern parts of the northwest and the northeastern parts of the Northern Cape. That's your weather. Do stay tuned to SABC News.
Well, that's how we wrap up this evening. As we head into the weekend with Youth Day on Monday, I urge you to take a moment to reflect on the power and potential of South Africa's youth. Enjoy the weekend and let's celebrate the leaders of tomorrow. From myself, Becky, and the Power Prime News team, good night.